CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury ഇപ്പോൾ Thrissuriൽ സംസാരിക്കുകയാണ് തത്സമയം.
That means rural employment is on the decline. In your services sector, major flagship companies like Thrissur and Tugro, they have retrenched workers. Your information technology sector, the three major giants, that is Infosys, Wipro and Cognizant, they have announced retrenchment of 56,000 people. McKinsey's international agency has estimated that nearly 50 to 60% of our IT professionals will become redundant in this year. That means they are not keeping in pace with the growth in technology. The IITs have reported this year, all the IITs in the country, that on-campus recruitment has fallen by half, by 50%. Private engineering colleges are reporting that seats are going vacant, students are not coming. They are not coming because there are no job opportunities. Why go into engineering education in private colleges paying so much money? So the net result is the future for the youth. The government minister has announced the Skill India scheme is now virtually abandoned. So all these slogans of Digital India, Skill India, Make in India will create the jobs, etc. For the youth, it is a complete betrayal these 3 years. So on the issues of youth, that is on the question of unemployment, on the question of loan waiver and an MSP, on these issues the CPM has decided that we will, along with other secular parties, we will launch a nationwide movement, and this will culminate during the monsoon session of the Parliament in July. And for that, talks are already begun with other political parties, and we shall jointly work out a people's mobilization action plan for the whole country in this coming monsoon session by July. The other aspect, which is very disconcerting and very dangerous, is the growth and continuous growing of these private armies that are coming up in all BJP ruled states in the name of cow protection or moral policing. Yesterday, legally, cattle that were being transported with legal certificates from Tamil Nadu was attacked. The drivers and the helpers were beaten. One of them is reportedly succumbed to their injuries and died. One truck has been set on fire. When the police itself was saying that these people have legal orders, they are legally correct to transport this cattle, but in spite of them, these private armies ransacked the whole place and blockaded the national highway. So these private armies are today running the show. So CPM demands that immediately all these private armies must be legally banned. If the law of the land is being violated, then there is the police to take care, there are courts to deliver justice. Private armies cannot arrogate to themselves this responsibility. These private armies must be legally banned. Finally, we see that the BJP has unleashed a very concerted, pinpointed attack against the left, particularly the CPI. It is making all-out efforts in the small state of Tripura in the northeast, where elections are due early 2018. That after Assam, after manipulating their governments in Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur, Tripura is the next target. They have entered Tripura with huge amounts of money. They are buying up the MLAs belonging to non-left parties. Much of the Congress party has been taken over by the Trinamool, and now much of the Trinamool is being taken over by the BJP. So their slogan is to defeat us in Tripura, destabilize the LDF government in Kerala, and to sharpen competitive communalism thanks to playing in tandem with the Trinamool Congress in Bengal. They want to create a communal polarization in Bengal that will squeeze the left out. And this is a very dangerous game that they are playing. So attacks on the left is a part of their target. Because the RSS and their chief, who's no more but who's still considered their ideologue, Mr. Golwalkar, had said that the three internal enemies for Hindu Rashtra are the Muslims, the Christians and the communists. So if they are challenging us in that way and mounting physical attacks, we have met the challenge, we will continue to meet the challenge. And I said in Agartala, Tripura the other day, if BJP thinks that they can defeat the left-wing government in the state, they must be prepared to face a situation like Napoleon faced in Waterloo. In the famous Waterloo battle, Tripura will be BJP's Waterloo. That the left is determined to ensure. And if they think they are going to intimidate us by their physical attacks, etc., let them be suitably told that no amount of physical attacks is going to subdue our political commitment and our political work. That is not going to stop us. We will respond to their attacks, physical attacks, through democratic methods. And democratically isolate them more from the people. That is the approach that we have taken on this. Okay? Tell me.
You said the BJP and the RSS lobby, they are likely more the ideology, various means of media and communications, and we need an alternative preparedness. Can you elaborate what exactly? How
You see, as I said, they are creating a narrative through their control over the media and the public space. That is their narrative. We are building the alternative narrative of the people, and that is being built through people's struggles. Kisan agitation is part of that alternative narrative. What I have proposed about the platform for people's struggles, that is the alternative narrative. So we'll answer through building up this alternative narrative that is directly connected with the day-to-day life and problems of the people of our country.
You mentioned building up a larger opposition towards this policy that you're planning a series of experiences from compromise. I'm sure you also reported this with other parties which is ongoing. So what is your strategy after the meeting?
Well, the meeting is tomorrow in Delhi. And we have been talking with all the left parties. We want all the opposition parties to come together, and our understanding is very clear that we will put up, and we should put up ideally, a joint candidate by the opposition parties for the president and vice president. And that is what on the name we are going to discuss tomorrow.
You have in fact some panel for that, or what you're looking?
We had set up a small group of consultations to carry this on with other political parties. The group was headed by Mr. Sharad Pawar. So rounds of meetings have already taken place, and 14 the day the notification will come, that evening we are going to have a meeting.
You have withdrawn the support to Congress government in 2009. Is there any change in your political decision?
What?
2009, we have
2009, first
support of
UPA,
Congress.
second UPA government. We have withdrawn
Is there
support.
any change in that policy?
Is there any change in our policy?
Change in policy towards?
Congress.
Withdrawal of the UP.
In the Congress, we have said that there can be no electoral understanding or alliance with the Congress. That is a decision that our party Congress has taken, and that is the decision that will be the party's decision. Till we meet in the next Congress, and then the next Congress will decide. But, so that on that there is no change.
That means the CPM will not make any alliance with the Congress in the future.
Yes, according to that understanding, CPM will not enter into any electoral understanding or alliance. Electoral alliance or understanding with the Congress.
The coming parliament.
Any time, in any election, till our next party Congress, this is the party Congress direction. CPIM will not have any electoral alliance or understanding with the Congress.
What about the presidential election coming? What about the presidential elections?
Presidential election, we have always said that depending on the situation, that we have always cooperated with the other opposition parties to get a president who we think is better as the custodian of the Indian Constitution than what the ruling party may give. That is not contesting elections together, that is on a candidate.
So you will support the Congress candidate? You will support the Congress candidate?
Well, Congress may support my candidate. How do you know? Why? So,
That possibility is not ruled out. I think an understanding of the Congress.
there is nobody's candidate in a presidential election. Please understand.
You mean
There is always a candidate that on whom the larger number of parties come to an agreement saying that they would prefer that.
the CPM
President candidate is not a municipal election, my candidate and your candidate. It is a candidate as a custodian of the Indian Constitution, who is the person who is most capable of doing that. On that, most of the parties come to a common agreement on who can be the person who can deliver.
that CPM will have no sufficient number in the parliament to build a candidate in the presidential election. So you have only one option to support the Congress candidate.
Why? Who told you we don't have? Who told you we don't have enough strength in parliament to field a candidate? Do your homework and come here, please. I mean, journalism nowadays has also become a one second bite.
No, you mean it's a consensus candidate. The presidential candidate is a consensus. You mean, if the names are coming up from the BJP side, some of them. But then how do you, normally it's not actually an election. The post is not an election, it's a consensus candidate. How far the opposition, not the CPM or the Congress, the opposition is ready to accept those names which are in circulation?
Which are the names in circulation? Please tell me. You may be circulating some names. There are no names in circulation as far as political parties are concerned. Media is in its own world. You can circulate your names. As far as the political parties are concerned, there is no name that is under circulation or discussion.
Are you at a stage where you will be voting something?
Huh?
Are you at a stage where you will be voting something?
Tomorrow there is a meeting of the opposition parties, smaller group that is was set up some time ago, and that meeting will be held tomorrow afternoon. So there we will discuss. We heard through the media that the government has set up a three-man committee, but nobody from the committee has contacted at least us. I don't know if they contacted anybody else. 14th the notification is going to come, that is tomorrow. So tomorrow afternoon the opposition parties are meeting. We are meeting to do it. You see, normally the practice has been that the ruling party takes the initiative, proposes a candidate, tries to build a consensus. For the last 4 or 5 elections, at least in my life, that has been the practice. When the Prime Minister calls and says, we are thinking of so and so, what is your opinion? Do you? Mr. Narasimha Rao did that with us, Mr. Vajpayee did that with us, and Dr. Manmohan Singh did that in the last 2 times. Every political party in Parliament is contacted by the Prime Minister. That happens before the notification. That has not happened this time.
But in that case, the first step should be from the ruling party or from, you can also propose such an...
Always, normally it is the ruling party that takes the initiative, naturally, because they have a majority. That's why they are the ruling party. If we disagree, then we put up a candidate. The ruling party proposed Mr. Vajpayee, Dr. Kalam's name. The principal opposition party, Congress, agreed with that proposition. We did not agree. So we put up Captain Lakshmi Saigal as a candidate.
Are you ready for a consensus the NDA in the candidate? Are you ready to consent with the NDA?
Please understand, again you are talking of NDA, UPA, Congress, left. Please understand, presidential elections are on the name of a person. I mean, which language, any other language? You want Hindi, Telugu? No, how do I explain it to you? You don't seem to be understanding.
When we look in the voting scenario, we can see the 2 phenomena. The first one is the corruption.
Corruption.
That is, we have seen at the time of the UPA, last government. And other is the communism. How it's in the nation. Which one is the most harmful to the society?
The most harmful is corruption plus communalism.
Corruption.
Plus communalism. More harmful is corruption plus communalism. Understand? This government is corruption plus communalism. I told you about the public sector companies being misused. Now what are the changes they have done to political funding? They have removed the restriction on corporates funding political parties. Corporates had a restriction on their net profits. They could not give more than 7% of the net profits as donation to a political party. That has been removed. Corporates had to say publicly which political party they were donating. That has been removed. Corporates can now donate 100% of their profits to the political party. They can donate through electoral bonds where they do not have to say to whom they are giving that money. The political party can encash the electoral bonds without saying who has given them those bonds. You are legalizing political corruption. That is what this government is doing. That is why I say this government is corruption plus communalism. And this is the most dangerous combination.
In the morning speech, you had mentioned, you elaborated that now also, building up an alternative political narrative to counter this communalism and corruption. You also mentioned about some internal characters like the concepts of not properly appreciating the political and case of internally, what kind of directions do you take? Systematically, structurally and ideologically.
I'm sorry, the last part?
No, structurally and ideologically, you were mentioning that in the morning speech that you had confusions about understanding the important concepts of political dictatorship for the party for the pursuit of political dictatorship. So internally, how do you counter?
You see, that is why he said it is the dictatorship, the proletarian dictatorship was an often misunderstood word because it is often seen as a dictatorship. What I was explaining in the morning is that it has come in response to the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie, which is what is any capitalist state. So that is why the dictatorship of the proletariat came as the answer to that. So that is why today we do not say it's proletarian dictatorship, not the dictatorship. It's the rule under the leadership of the working class. It's not a dictatorship. It is a working class led state. So these changes we brought in so that the confusion doesn't arise in the minds of the people about democracy versus dictatorship. In order to overcome that potential for mischief and confusion, we've done that.
organizational structures, how will it?
Organizational structures, we've said that, that is why we have gone through the entire plenum on organization in Calcutta. We've made a series of these changes, whereby the inner party democracy has been made more vibrant and responsive. It's no longer just a one-way traffic from the leadership to the cadre, but it's going to be cadre to the leadership, leadership to the cadre. There's a two-way traffic that's come. Those structural changes internally in the organization we have made. So that, in order to make a party much more vibrant, it's already one of the most democratic within the, in political parties, to make it more vibrant. These changes we brought forth.
Now, the federal government implemented ban for the cattle trade. The CPM or left parties will take the issue.
Yes, the Meghalaya government also did the same thing today. Yesterday, the Meghalaya government also did the same thing. More governments will also do the same thing. We have taken that initiative. The Kerala Chief Minister has written to all the non-BJP Chief Ministers. So the party is also taking the initiative to talk to the non-BJP political parties who have state governments, that we should unitedly come and oppose this. And I think the pressure has already been felt by the central government. Today afternoon they were saying that they are prepared to review the order that they have given. That means they are already begun to backtrack. They have realized the public opposition to it. So I think they'll be forced to, because in our country you cannot violate your federal principles on one hand and impose dietary prescriptions on the people, which is basically against the fundamental right to liberty. Nobody can tell me how I live my life. If I violate a law, punish me. But you can't tell me how to live my life, what to eat.
Sir, 100% in the Rajya Sabha,
Me? I have said that in my party the norm is after 2 terms we do not normally give a 3rd term to anyone. As long as that norm is there and I am the General Secretary, there is no question of violating that norm. I am not going for the 3rd term.
Sir, the situation is becoming more and more volatile. And in the last 8 to 10 months, it has come to such a level. And what do you think, how the government handling or policy on Kashmir or the army's handling of the situation? This government is miserably failing.
Yeah. You see, as far as Kashmir is concerned, I think this represents a gross failure of this Modi government's Kashmir policy. I think it's a complete failure. The reason I am saying this is that they entered into a coalition with a party which has completely opposite point of view ideologically from what they stand for. Opportunistically, they formed the state government. Having formed the state government, after the trouble began, after great pressure, after 1 month they sent an all-party delegation, led by the Union Home Minister. After returning from Jammu and Kashmir, this delegation, after a meeting in Delhi, announced the government promised 2 things. 1, immediate confidence-building measures, that is withdrawal of the pellet guns, some substitute they'll give, but create confidence among the people of Kashmir. And 2, the starting of a political process through opening of a dialogue with all stakeholders. This the government announced. 6 months have gone by. Neither of these 2 things they have done. All of us agreed to the government proposal that these are the 2 things. The Home Minister of the country comes and announces that. Then they don't do anything. What is the meaning? The meaning is very clear, that they are not sincere about implementing what they themselves have promised. They want to use the Kashmir situation for their political advantage in the rest of the country by sharpening communal polarization. This is a very dangerous game that is going on, which has both for Kashmir's a future and future of our country is unity and integrity, it will be very dangerous. Neither is the government calling any consultation with any political party on how to go forward on the Kashmir issue. They have taken no initiative so far. Secondly, on the question of this army thing, you see, I want to make it very clear that as far as I am concerned, our party is concerned, the army is a very well-respected institution of our country, which has a very special role in safeguarding the country's sovereignty and integrity. The army should never be drawn into a political public discourse. Drawing the army into a public discourse is completely damaging our countries. All facets of our institutions, our democratic institutions, our entire country's sanctity in terms of the army's sanctity. So the appeal to political leaders and the army officers: do not enter into any political discourse or a dialogue. There are well-tested methods of how the army under civilian control functions. That is part of our constitution. So this is doing great disservice to India by drawing the army into public discourse. This should stop immediately for the sake of India, for our country's interests. Because till now the army was above reproach. Anything, floods, communal riots, some disturbances, calling in the army meant that people had faith that normalcy will restore. That faith is because army is above all political discourse. Now if you make army part of the political discourse, that faith of the people will also get affected. That will damage India as a whole. That is doing disservice. And so my appeal to all of them, political leaders and army officers, is that refrain from being drawn into public discourse on these matters. It's not in the interest of India.
You were vehemently opposed to DSP, and the government does not take very strong stand on this issue. Is there any difference in understanding?
No, the Kerala government took the stand of actually saying, but then the point is that it was coming in any case. The majority of the states had agreed to it. So even with a minority, there was no single government veto power. So then every state government was only trying to see what is the best they can get for their state and their people.
So that was the argument for Kerala. In a consumer trade, state will get benefit, that was the argument by the national.
You see, state may get benefit. You see, the producing states will lose, the consuming states will gain. That is the logic of GST. So since Kerala is more of a consuming state than a producing state, Kerala should gain. But the point is, on the other hand, the right of the state governments to raise their own resources. I mean, what about that? That was the issue, what I told you earlier. So that is an issue that still has to be resolved.
That also lays the base for uniformity. You have a uniform market. GST provides this logical basis for this.
Correct. They want to have a unified market, and unified market is also the cry of big business. Now what is happening? All the policies of this Modi government are ones that are favoring big business. Demonetization, shift to the digital economy is actually favoring your multinational corporations who monopolize your digital transactions. Now this cattle trade ban, this is against your small slaughterhouses, the small markets, the small vendor, while your big vendors and who sell through the malls and who sell through your apps, the digital transaction. Yesterday I was in Bangalore. There were 4 advertisements, 4 big one-page advertisements from different companies saying now free home delivery, order your meat online. So So the charge that they charge will be double of what you are paying in your local market. So all the measures this government is taking is actually favoring big business and foreign capital at the expense of our own, what we call the informal economy.
The LDF government in Kerala completed its first year.
First
The LDF government in Kerala
India government has completed.
completed its first year. What's your opinion about the performance of the government and how much work will you give?
Well, the performance of the government, the people of Kerala will judge finally. They are the masters. But as far as we are concerned, I think we are satisfied that what we had promised the people in the LDF manifesto, much of that in fact has been undertaken, initiated, and we are going in the direction of keeping up the promises we made to the people of Kerala. And it's a very satisfactory job that is being done.
in spite of disruption by BJP.
I'm only waiting. Why they are not asking about this? Yeah. I told you, madam, I was just adding, when I said that satisfactory performance, that despite the disturbances created by BJP, he was just telling me, and you asked me this question. You see, I answered it earlier, when I was speaking, I said, BJP is targeting the CPIM and the left, and it wants to really consider that of all the political forces, the most consistent, theoretical, ideological and organizational opponent that the communal forces have is the BJP, is the CPI. So they want weaken us. Destabilizing the Kerala government is one of their declared objectives. The whole process started from the day the election results were being announced. Our Chief Minister, his own constituency, bombs were hurled by the BJP, one of our comrades was killed. In the last 12 months, 12 people were killed by the RSS BJP, on an average one a month in this sort of violence. So they are seeking for a central intervention after destabilizing this government, which they think is the only way in which their political base can expand. That is the classic prescription and recipe of the BJP all over the country. Without politics of violence, without politics of terror, the BJP's political base has never expanded. And that is the unfortunate truth of the whole politics that they pursue. And that's what they want to do. And here they are also very peeved with the fact that they thought that they are going to make great inroads into Kerala politics, but they managed only one MLA seat. So they are also very disappointed, or let's say let down. So they think that they can take it back using their central government. That's why they'll try to destabilize us further. They'll attack our people, and those attacks they are trying to continue. And that is why I said earlier, if they think that they are going to try and intimidate us through such action, they are very sorely mistaken. Well, it is a continuous battle. It has not stopped. I don't think it will immediately stop. They'll go on doing it, we'll have to go on controlling it. But as I said earlier, our response will be a democratic response. It's not going to be a violent response. It's going to be a democratic response where the objective is to further isolate the people from the BJP and the RSS. And that we shall do. And I think we'll succeed in doing that. Okay?
Sir, internationally, what is your party's opinion about the ongoing steps taken by Saudi government and to corner Qatar, and which is concerning to India? And earlier, India's voice was heard everywhere. Now, is it because of the terrorism government of India is keeping quiet, or what else?
Well, you see, we would want, this is a very, very sensitive, serious problem. It has an effect on us, all of us, in Indians also. Because with all these countries, we have friendly relations. With Qatar, we have very good relations. And therefore, the government of India must play a proactive role in trying to see that these problems are resolved. Number one. Why India's voice is not being heard like the way it was being heard in the past, if you say? That is because after this Modi government has come, India has been reduced as a subordinate ally of your USA. The more you are seen as a subordinate ally of the USA, that independent prestige and position that India had in the past, that unfortunately is being undermined by this government's own policies.
So after June 26th, there will be more, is it?
Well, I am hoping that after 2019, the things will be reversed.
No, he is going to meet.
Huh?
He is going to US to meet the Europe president.
I don't think so. I mean, that you may be under the delusion, but remember, you are all thinking that Modi is invincible because of UP election. Before UP, you had Delhi. After Delhi, you had Bihar. In UP election this time, BJP polled 3% vote less than what they polled in 2014. If they won in UP, it was because of the index of opposition disunity. If the Congress, BSP and the Samajwadi Party came together, out of the 403 seats, in 313 seats, in these elections with this vote, these three parties would have won. And BJP would have got only 90. In Uttarakhand, the BJP's vote fell by 10%. In Punjab, the BJP lost a sitting government. In Goa, the BJP lost a sitting government. In Manipur and Goa, they formed the government through their own manipulations and through their money power. So what is the euphoria you are creating? You are building the media.
Despite all this,
This is what the media is not reflecting the truth. You are becoming the post-truth. You see, the truth is this: people in Delhi have rejected, people in Bihar have rejected, people in Goa have rejected, people in Punjab have rejected. 3% less in UP, 10% less in Uttarakhand, and then you are saying no alternative. Just watch, that's why I am saying 2019, I mean, that will be enough and there will be a reversal after that. Okay? Thank you.
That's a request from the authorities here.
തൃശ്ശൂരിൽ സീതാറാം യെച്ചൂരി മാധ്യമങ്ങളോട് സംസാരിക്കുകയായിരുന്നു. പ്രധാന വാർത്ത.